The way behind yesterday, it's the overwhelming story. Let's jump to some NBA conversation. Jalen Brown didn't play for the Celtics yesterday, which gave Jason Tatum an opportunity to sort of step into the middle of everything. And boy, did he rise to that. Jason Tatum scored 32 points yesterday, and the Celtics put together a pretty impressive win against the Charlotte Hornets team that has been playing great. The 32 is the most points that Tatum has scored since he returned from the Achilles injury, his first 30-point game of the season, obviously. And so we got Monica McNutt and Alan Hahn here for a little conversation about that. I hope that you're all right there.
It's great. I was like, oh my gosh,
you're not getting a lot of sleep.
No, it's a great show this morning. Let's go.
Jason Tatum. Interesting to see that when they need him to do that, he can do that. What does it mean as we project the Celtics going forward?
Greeny, we sat on this desk when this idea was bouncing around in the atmosphere that he was returning, and we all agreed he wasn't going to come back to be a wallflower. And so it was, to me, just a matter of time until he truly found his stride. And this performance represents that. He was 5 of 10 from the three-point line, and that has been one thing that everybody has been talking about ad nauseum in terms of his productivity. It's like riding a bike for this dude. It's coming right back.
That's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. It's not just coming right back. It's back. Like you saw it. He scored or assisted on the first 15 points of the game. With no Jalen Brown, he kind of slid back into the role of the 1A guy. And that probably was comfortable for him to not have to think about anything. And he was in attack mode. His first bucket of the game was he split defenders and had this dunk. That was a powerful dunk. He's doinked a few dunks, right? Because the legs aren't under you when you're coming back from something like this. But watch this, split the D, and look at the confidence off the foot and the finish. Hangs on it for a second for a good measure. But this tells you right there that he's confident enough to attack the rim against defenders and get at the rim and finish like he normally does. That was the first sign. And like I said, from there, 15 straight points that were scored. He scored or assisted on them. He was in full control. And by the end of the game, he loves playing in Charlotte anyway. He loves being in North Carolina, former Dookie. But this was more about him announcing to himself, I'm back.
So he does it in a game that Brown doesn't play. They're going to get to the playoffs here in 2 weeks or whatever it is, 2.5 weeks. And now we're going to have the two of them together. What are you looking at me like that?
Where are you going with this, Greeny?
I mean, what does this mean?
It means that these guys are a legitimate title contender. It has the chemistry's not going to be messed up by Jason Tatum's return. No, there's not a big dog, little dog complex. This is Jalen Brown tweeting this out.
Right.
Like, they take a ton of pride in what they have done. And having been in the building when the Knicks knocked them off last year, I'm sure they are only revenge-minded.
I know now why you were looking at me. You thought I was going to ask you if it's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite side of that. I have been the entire time. No team has ever gotten worse by bringing Jason Tatum onto it. The idea that was ever going to happen is ridiculous. Right. I'm going in the other direction completely. Who the hell beats them if those guys are both playing like that?
Yeah, especially when you think about it, there's a revenge factor here, but there's also sort of a prove it thing. There's a Celtic culture thing that happened this year that in a league that is where a lot of teams are buying into and almost celebrating the gap year and to lose and to tank and all those things, the Celtics says, we don't do that. Joe Mazzulla told his team, this is what they think we're going to do. We're going to do the opposite. And Jalen Brown bought into it. So that's why they played the way they played this year. They wanted to show you that that's not what we do here in Boston. And then when you add Tatum and he comes back, now they're looking around saying, not only we win 50 games, we're going to win this whole damn thing. And if you don't think they don't believe that they can, you're not paying attention.
I'm surprised that our analytics still have them fourth in the East. I am with you. Right now, if I had to bet on one of those horses, that's the one that I would bet. And we had a lot of great sports yesterday. We're covering it all for you here today. But we had one of those moments, and March Madness seems to give us those probably as much as any other sport. One of those moments that for the rest of your life, you'll remember where you were sitting and who you were with and what you were doing when UConn did this against Duke. Or it'll break your heart over and over again. Let's hear from some of them after the game.
I had the ball, and I know AK had just hit one, so I threw him at 4 seconds left, and man, he just threw the ball back to me. I knew I had to put one up. So, man, I'm just happy that was the one that went down tonight.
We fought, we clawed, put ourselves in position to take advantage of a mistake that they made. And, one of the most brilliant shooters that you'll ever see shoot a basketball, made an incredible, legendary March shot.
This is not about one play. It's about every play to put us in that position. And that's what you don't want to do. Where one play, something can happen. And so for me, look, it's going to be tough, but it's not going to be on one play.
I turned the ball over. I should have been strong with the ball. Cost our team our season.
Boy, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, to hear a young man say that in that moment. There's Jay Billis, who's good enough to get up with us early this morning. Jay, it's always great to see you. Seth, I'll start with you here, though, as the coach. We're going to show that entire sequence again, and you just take us through it. All the little tiny things that happen that add up to this moment that will live forever.
Yeah, Duke did so many good things. You see, Isaiah Evans, he's denied. He's going to clear. You don't want to bring a ton of people in the backcourt. You want to create some space. So what does Cam Boozer do? He does a nice job of catching and facing. When he catches the basketball, they send two to the ball. So you want to have someone behind the basketball. Great job. What do you want to do next? Get the ball to the middle of the floor. Turn, face. Don't put it on the ground right away. There was the mistake. Terrific execution, just to handling the press. What do you want to do? Create space, get the ball to Cam Boozer. He catches it, he gets doubled. You want someone behind the play. They had someone behind the play. You want someone in the middle of the floor. Caden was in the middle of the floor. Caden did a great job of freeing himself up. Look, the Jimmys and Joes are X's and O's, or the X's and O's are Jimmys and Joes. He caught the basketball, turn, face, be strong on the ball, wait for the foul. He didn't. It's unfortunate. One play did not lose that game. 16 points off turnovers for UConn. Scoring, that lost them the game.
Jay Billis, take us through it. Again, you played it, you coached it, you've been announcing it forever. Take us through everything you saw in that final sequence.
Well, I think you'll hear some people say, hey, if you just catch the ball and hold it, you'll get fouled. The worst that can happen is a tie-up. That may be true. There was nothing wrong with both Cameron Boozer's program. When you're in press offense, and especially at Duke, Duke worked on this every day under Coach K, under John Shire. They call it catch and face. You catch by Caden Boozer was he caught the ball on the, he caught it and then immediately turned and dribbled it. It's not catch and dribble, it's catch and face. And then he left the floor in order to make a pass. Now, the pass wasn't necessarily a bad idea. It wasn't necessary. But when you're trying to throw over two defenders with high hands, there's a chance it gets deflected. You fake that pass, throw around him, the game's over. Or catch, face, hold the ball, be strong with it, and the worst that happens is you get fouled, then you go, you have 2 free throws, and make your free throws, it's a 4-point game, and the game's over. But that's something that Duke works on every day, one play, until it's only one play. And then does it really matter whether Duke made the comeback or UConn did? That one play, there was an execution. And Duke in the second half, they scored 28 points. They had 8 turnovers to UConn's 1. And a lot of those turnovers, there was one where a pass and Terrace Reed Jr. shoots the gap, gets a dunk. Cameron Boozer, with a minute to go and a 4-point lead, turned the ball over on a right-hand drive, just lost it, and then UConn takes it the other way, gets a 3, it's a 1-point game. So all those things contributed. But when it gets down to one play, you still have to make the play, and UConn made it and Duke didn't.
It's extraordinarily well said and so concise and perfect. I want to make sure I'm understanding and that those who don't understand the intricacies of the game as well understand. Jay, what you're saying is that if he catches the ball before he dribbles and turns, he has a chance to see what's going on around him, and thus he could react to it any way he wants up to it, including saying, okay, I don't have a pass here, I'm just going to hold it and get fouled. Instead, now that he has dribbled and left his feet, he's in no man's land. He's stuck. He either has to throw it or it's going to be a travel.
Exactly. You can't leave your feet.
That's exactly right. That's why you say catch and face.
Go ahead, Jay.
So when you catch the ball, he's coming back to the ball. And when you catch the ball, you catch it, and then you're on 2 feet, you pivot, you turn and face the defense. Then he sees the 2 defenders.
Right here.
He can back dribble, he can dribble around him. There's all kinds of stuff. But see, he's kind of catching it on the run. Yeah. Puts it down, up. And Isaiah Evans, had his hands down. You can see John Shire was like, hey, man, high hands. And you're not thinking about that. And that's sort of the issue of late game situations and why teams try to simulate that in practice. And John Shire does this. A lot of coaches do it. They'll show their teams tape from other teams, whether college teams, NBA teams, whatever, late game situations to put it in their heads. And because you can't always simulate these things, but that's the value of experience. And one thing, I know it hasn't been overlooked, but it needs to be talked about more, is the poise of Alex Karaban. When Mullins corralled that ball after the deflection and he got it Caravan, a lot of players would have just shot that thing. And that would not have been a great shot. Now, he could have made it, but it would have been heavily pressured because he had multiple defenders right in front of him. He had the poise to look back to Mullins, who was coming in. And remember, Braylon Mullins is a great shooter. He hadn't had a great shooting game in this one. But in high school, he made those kind of shots from that depth routinely. He kicked it back. Is it a high percentage shot? No. But that was the best shot. And Caravan, with his experience and championship pedigree, and I think that matters, had the poise to do that under pressure. And that was as big a factor as the shot being made, was Caravan having the poise and the smarts under pressure to get Mullins that shot.
Seth, that was the first thing you said in our meeting this morning. 6:02 a.m. this morning. Seth, that was the first point you made.
Yeah, Alex Caravan is all about winning. He's all about making the right play. And look, he's had a ton of experience being in those situations. And what Jay talked about in terms of practice, you practice time and score all the time. But Jay, you brought me into that shoot around before, I think, the Carolina game. And one of the things John Shire did do, he had a bunch of plays from NBA games the night before. And a lot of those plays were time and score late game situations. And he basically quizzed his players on, what are you thinking? What are you seeing? Why did they do this? And you know it's been covered, but in game speed, under those circumstances, they did everything right, except you just got to turn and face. It's unfortunate, and I agree, the last play is the most important play, but that was a cumulative effect because those 8 turnovers in the second half resulted in 16 points. And the second thing they did was they kept Duke off the glass. Duke only got 2 second chance points in the second half. In the first half, they got 14 second chance points. So UConn made a lot of adjustments to put them in a position to make that last play.
I want to ask you both this question.
And
go ahead, Jay. Go.
Well, one of the important things to remember, Duke only scored 28 points in the second half.
Yeah.
And they were up 15 at halftime. And one of the things for championship teams is when you have a lead, if you trade baskets, you keep that lead. And you have to be as tough. You're not going to get shutouts against great teams, defensively. You're not going to pitch a shutout in the second half. You have to be tough on offense and make sure that you score or get fouled and take care of the ball on those possessions. And that's the way you keep leads. So there was the issue of Duke giving up the lead and certainly the issue of the last play. But 28 points in the second half, that's going to put you in a bad spot. And they wound up in a bad spot.
Yeah, there's a million different ways to go with this game. My chair is rolling. But here's the last thing I want to ask you guys. Seth, I'll start with you. You're a coach. And maybe this isn't the right thing for me to be thinking about, but I'm a dad, and these kids are about the same age as my kids, and I happen to know, as we all do, we all know Carlos Boozer here, so we know his dad. When you hear a kid like Caden Boozer after that game, he made a mistake. I mean, young people make mistakes. All people make mistakes in basketball games and well beyond. And you can see how emotional he is and has been. And he sits there and he says, I cost my team our season. Like, when you're a coach or you're a friend, what's the first thing you say to him after a moment like that, Seth?
I put my arm around him and I say, we win and lose as a team. And that one play didn't determine the outcome of the game. There were so many different plays that all of us could have made, including myself as a coach, to help us basically finish off the game, like Jay was just talking about. Maybe I could have found a way to get us some easy baskets, to get maybe the ball into someone's hands, to put him in a position to attack a matchup, to seek a matchup that you wanted. So you just put your arm around the guy, tell him you love him, and tell him how much you appreciate him, and then the rest of the team, his teammates, will do the same thing, because that's a close-knit group. And I would suspect that each and every one of those guys on that team went around to Cade and put his arms around and said, man, we are with you. We're all in this thing together. They call Duke the brotherhood. We win together, we lose together.
Jay?
Agree. But one thing about this, Greeny, just specific to your question, one thing that everybody in this tournament shares, every team that lost is crying in the locker room, every single one of them. And what I find amazing is in this day and age when we're all clutching our pearls over athletes finally making money, and we're talking about, the money and people like to say it's transactional. Tell me any of that look transactional. Like, money and wanting to win are not mutually exclusive. Like, they wanted to win and they care about each other. They have great relationships. And if anybody can look at that and say that's not pure, then they're not honest. because that was pure competition. And in great competition, the winners are jubilant and the losers are despondent. And so I've been on both sides of that. Seth has too. I know you have. To me, that's the essence of great competition. And in a way, as painful as that is for the loser, it's beautiful too, that it shows how much these players and coaches really care about each other and about the competition.
Perfect place to leave it. Guys, Bill, this has been too long. Thank you, my man, for getting up early today. Seth, more from you as we go.